We have here is our conversion frames for Langstroth to Layens, and they're a little bit different. So I don't have any wire in here, no dowel rod, and the frames are a little bit thicker, maybe about an inch and 5/8 to inch and 11/16 wide, and that's because the comb on Langstroth has bigger gaps and can sometimes be too wide, where it will fit against another frame and it will prevent the bees from building out comb properly on the adjacent frames. So one of the first things we want to do is to make sure these are pre-drilled, because once we start the actual process, we want to be expedited in what we do, so we're not delaying anything. So what I like to do in advance is to put 2 screws in on the top and 1 screw from a side. So I drew both sides just as convenience. Get my screws here, and I just kind of pre-start them a little bit with the drill, just so that way we're not fumbling around later on trying to get things started here. Okay, so now that we have the frames prepared, then it's a matter of grabbing a frame from our nuke box that will fit into this conversion jig, which this is all pre-set up, so that way when I slide it in, it won't crush the frame, won't crush the brood, and this acts as my fence, so I can cut it off, and it's pre-measured to fit the 12 and 3/16 gap that is sideways. So now that we've come to the hive, we usually the day before we put the nuke box in here to let the bees settle down, open the gate, a little flap on here so they can already come in and out of the hive for a day, and they're all oriented, all the foragers are oriented. So it's just a matter of opening up your 5-frame Langstroth nuke box, and oftentimes the end ones are the honey that you wouldn't convert, so we slowly pick them up, and to make more room we gently set them down onto the side so we don't crush the bees or roll bees. And then eventually there'll be either 2 or 3 frames of brood. So once we pull out a good frame, we kind of look for the queen. If we can find her and maybe capture her, then that makes it easier, because then we know she's safe. And then what we do then is shake the bees hard into the box, shut the lid, bring this back over to our conversion jig, and then I look at the heaviest brood pattern, because I want the more solid brood pattern on the side that we install in the hive, and the lesser brood on this side. So the lug will actually fit into the side here. Put it in here. I'm not going to actually cut it, but I then use this as my saw fence, and I just run through and cut it. There's usually enough wax and propolis around the frame that it holds it in tight so it doesn't move while you're cutting. You bring that out, and at this point you have about this much of your frame. This piece we set to the side, turn it around, and the goal is to get the lug off. So then I just simply cut the lug off the saw here, and then that way it's not in the way of the side. So at that point it's ready to go. This is kind of a 2-person operation where we place it in here, and we want to have the frame centered between here, so that way it's not too far to one side or another. And then once you get it centered, the other person brings the drill in, and you hold it securely, and then it will then shoot the top 2 screws in. And then you kind of repeat the same process for the one side screw, is get it centered and then shoot this. And then usually, because this is centered, it's typically centered on the other side, and we usually don't put a screw on the other side. So once we then have the frame all in here. I don't have a screw on, so here I can quickly bring it into your hive. I usually have some extra frames in here for starters, and then we place the first one in here, close it back up, and then we come back in, and then we pull the next conversion frame out and repeat the same process again. All right, today's task is we're going to be converting 2 Langstroth nukes into a Layens horizontal hive. And when we receive the nukes with these 24 frame hives, we have enough space to place the entire nuke box in there for a couple of days so the bees can settle down. And as you can see, they are already oriented. All the foragers have been coming and going really nice for the last couple of days. So we'll be taking probably 2 or 3 of the frames to convert into a Layens format. So we'll be preparing all of our gear very shortly here. All right, so we have our tote full of our supplies, so we want to get everything ready so that way once we start, it's kind of like clockwork. We don't fumble around and looking for supplies. So here is our conversion jig that we use for cutting. We'll set the Langstroth frame into there. We have our saw, which will cut along this fence line to give us the exact length of about 12 3/16, and our drill. And then we also have 2 to 3 conversion frames per hive that we'll have on standby here, so that way we can just simply grab them and insert the cutoff section into the frame, these conversion frames, and then insert them into the hive. So at this point I think we have everything ready, and it's just now a matter of suiting up, and we'll open up the nuke box and we'll go through the whole process of how to cut and convert each one of the frames. All right, we have our nuke box in here that's been in here for 2 days, because after traveling 100 miles with the nukes, the bees are very angry, and it's nice for them to come into here, settle down, open the opening here. We have the flap open in the nuke box, so they've been foraging for about 2 days, and now it's a matter of converting the frames over. So I will grab a tool here.
Tape's on this side. Just so the bees don't get stuck. Flip it over.
Okay, so this one we have 4 frames. I'm just gonna cut some of the cross comb to make it a little bit easier to extract it from the hive. Okay, so we have one here with just simply being prepared. There's no brood on here, so this is one that we would not convert. And here we've got very awesome
There's the queen right there.
brood pattern.
Right there.
So we found the queen right away, so we're going to try to capture her, so make sure she's safe.
There she is.
Got her?
Sort of. Yep, right here. So I'll put her in
Is that the
here.
queen?
It's the queen, Joe.
Okay, all right.
I'm going to set it in here so they smell her. And she's in the shade.
Okay. So what we'll do here is, this is a great one to convert, and I'll shake the bees off and we'll close the flap. Okay. And you want to give me the tool there, please?
Do you need a brush to brush them off?
No, we should be fine here. So now we have some of the comb here that I'm just going to kind of cut off a little bit, just because it might be in the way when we put it in a jig. And I'm going to try to, this is pretty heavy brood in both directions, so it really isn't going to matter which way we cut it. They both will be very solid broods. I think I will just cut it this way, and this is designed so that way when it's pushed in there, we still have enough room.
Here. It'll be tight.
Where it will be tight. Let's see. We're going to have to get a little bit more of this wax off on the bottom here. There. Place it in our jig. And now it's tight against this fence. And then this will serve as our fence for the cutting, which will pre-measure the 12 3/16. And I just kind of hold it up above and against this area, and then we just simply cut it. So this piece
we'll put in the hive, and they'll hatch them out.
Yeah, the nurse bees will hatch that out, so we don't always mount that into the hive. We now take the bigger piece out, and now I will cut the lug off so it's not in the way for the frame. So what we want to do now is mount it on top so it's in the center of this frame, and then shoot the side screw into the center here. So here's where it takes two people, one to hold it into place, and I kind of feel to make sure it's centered. And while holding it, we'll check the center. And it will draw it up tight against the top bar, and then we center it this way.
There's a bee here, so be careful you don't smush it.
And now we shoot that one in. So now it usually only takes one screw on the side, because this one doesn't have the wood bar, and it's pretty straight in there. The bees will repair this, so it won't even look like it's been impacted at all. So now we stick that into the hive, and now we proceed on to the next. Try and get some of the extra chrome off. Cut some more of the cross comb off to make it a little bit easier to remove.
Here's your
Slowly lift it up. Okay, we have brood here, and more solid brood on this side, and about 70% brood on this side. And since we have the queen in there, I'll shake the bees off like we did the first one.
queen cup strum, are they?
Yep. this one is. Oh, there's a wood frame.
This one has more brood on this end.
Yep.
So there's a couple of queen cups here, it looks like. We'll have to take those out. Obviously, we don't want them to swarm. Girls.
All right, so it looks like we got a better brood pattern on this side. So this is the side we will insert into the hive. Now with all the excess wax off of there, it's easier to get your frame in there. Put the jig on it. As you can see, there's room to slide, and we'll proceed with the same cut. We'll set this into the side. Cut the lug off. And now we're ready to insert again. And we'll hold it in center. Okay, in center again. Rotate it, and now center it this way. And it's pretty close to being centered on the frame all the way around. And we can now insert this frame into the hive as well. And here's the extra width is helpful because of how varying the width is on the comb. And this one here has a lot of extra comb on it. Extra burr comb that we wouldn't want or need. And there's really no brood on here, so it's pretty much just a nectar frame.
You could leave it set in
Yeah,
the
so
empty
we'll leave
part of the hive so they can clean it out and transfer it into.
Correct. So what we'll do now is we'll just, at this point, I think we're ready to have the bees into the hive. So if you want to take the box out carefully, the queen, and set her up here. Lift the box up and out of there, please. And you gotta be careful. I'll just temporarily set this on the side. Set this one aside. We'll now get the other chunk here and lean that against this other side here. The nurse bees will continue to hatch them out.
Here's this one.
And we have one more frame we'll stick in. And our follower board. And we got the queen, and we'll just carefully release her into the hive.
she was walking on her brood.
All right, she walked in onto the brood, so now we will
Gently, carefully
yep,
shut this.
close it up. And then the rest of the bees will smell the pheromone, and they will all move into this within a matter of a few minutes. And so what we'll do here is just close it up, then we'll come back later on and observe to see how they've progressed. So that's the process. You know, every nuke has either 4 or 5 frames, and usually it's 2 to 3 that will have a lot of brood on it. So you kind of look and inspect each one and go through the whole process of cutting them, inserting them into the frames, and then installing them into the hive. So this is Jerry from Beehaven Hives, and that's today's buzz.